All right, so RFK had a very busy weekend. He was at the Libertarian National Convention. Now, look, he's been flirting with the Libertarians for quite a while now, and the reason is very simple. He wants ballot access, right? Running as an independent, it is like mission impossible to get your name on every ballot. But if you run as a Libertarian, you actually can get your name on the overwhelming majority of the ballots, probably 48 states or 49 states, something like that, right? And so he wants ballot access because he wants to win the presidency. And so he's sort of flirted with them a little bit. Hey, maybe I'll join you guys. Maybe I won't type stuff. But look, Libertarians are, they are principled. They are ideological and they are principled. And, you know, maybe there's 40% overlap, 50% overlap in his ideology and Libertarian ideology. But that's not enough. They want way, way more than that. They want probably closer to 90% overlap in ideologies for them to really back you. So anyway, he goes and he gives a speech. And here's one of the things he said that raised some eyebrows. Watch this.
And an NBC film crew came up to me during that convocation, and they asked me why I wasn't wearing a mask, which nobody was except for the NBC film crew. and they said, wasn't I scared of dying of COVID? And I said to them, there's a lot worse things than dying. And they said to me, like what? And I said, like living like a slave.
Come on, man. You can't compare wearing a mask during a pandemic to being a slave. Do you realize how preposterous that sounds to anybody who hasn't already drunk the Kool-Aid? Do you realize how fucking goofy that sounds, man? Do you realize it? Do you realize it? Putting on a mask during a pandemic is akin to being a slave. So you'd rather die to make a point that you're against masks. By the way, we're actually seeing this in legislation now. There was a story the other day. It almost made the show, but it got left on the cutting room floor. There's some red county that banned wearing masks outright, even for medical reasons. So in the name of freedom, they are anti-freedom. In the name of freedom, you're not allowed to wear a mask even if you want to. What the fuck is this goofy shit, bro? What is this? God. But by the way, the Libertarians will eat this part up. They're going to eat this part up. They love this. They love this. By the way, interestingly enough, this is the exact issue that made Penn Jillette wake up and stop being a libertarian. He was the most ardent, hardcore libertarian you could ever imagine. He was so doctrinaire. He was down the line. He was very ideological. Small government all day, every day. Capitalism all day, every day. This was Penn Jillette's ideology. The thing that made him switch, the thing that made him wake up and then slowly but surely leave libertarianism is during COVID, he was asked to lead an anti-masking rally. And he was like, he thought, well, hold on now. Am I in favor of people having the right to not wear a mask if they don't want to wear a mask? Yeah. But at the same time, in the heart of the pandemic, it's literally just common courtesy to like look out for others. Wearing the mask is not just to protect you, it's to protect others. And he thought this is just incredibly selfish and narcissistic. It's not some absurd imposition in the height of a pandemic to wear a mask. And so that made him wake up and think, oh my God, maybe the position I'm repping is just selfish and narcissistic, but it's pretending to be so principled, right? And it was that exact thing, him asked to being lead an anti-masking rally, that made him go, I don't really agree with these people anymore. I don't agree. And here's RFK. He's willing to swoop right in and be like, yes, masks are slavery. God damn it.
Like having my children grow up in an America where the Bill of Rights is just a empty piece of paper. In 1776, there was a generation of Americans that were willing to sacrifice their lives, their jobs, their property, their fortunes to give us this Bill of Rights. And upwards of 20,000 of them died to give us this gift.
All right, then we also have this. This is probably the biggest story that came out of him being at the Libertarian Convention. This is actually I support this one, not going to lie. Here we go.
Donald Trump to take that stage around 8 o'clock, but RFK has been passing these out. These are rubber chickens he was giving out to people here at the convention, David, telling them, debate Bobby. And so they say tonight people are going to be squeezing these, I guess, when Trump's on that stage because they want to see him to take him on the debate stage. Back to you.
I love the Libertarians. All right, Alexis, thank you.
So the RFK people were handing out rubber chickens that said debate Bobby on it, and they were going to squeeze them when Trump was talking. I know Trump's people tried to confiscate them before he gave the speech. I don't know if they succeeded or not, but the idea was, because Trump was out there saying, Joe Biden is a chicken. He doesn't want to debate RFK. He doesn't want to debate RFK. But then in the same post, Trump goes on to say, and also, I'm not sure he should be up there either, because if you look at the numbers, I'm not sure he's high enough. I'm not sure he's serious enough. Let's not debate him. And so RFK is like, hey, fuck you, man. Debate me. And made this whole big show of it. Which, look, by the way, I despise RFK. But at the same time, do I think he should be allowed on the debate stage? Yeah. I think he should. I also think he should be on the ballot. I think Cornel West should be on the ballot. I think Cornel West and Jill Stein should also be involved in the debates. But, I'm somebody who believes in that goofy, silly, ridiculous thing called democracy and want people to actually have choices. I know. Call me crazy. So that was another move that he made. Now, there was also, it got really weird at the end of the convention because RFK had been flirting, maybe I'll join the Libertarian ticket. Actually, no, I'm going to be independent. And somebody went up there and grabbed the mic and basically nominated him to be on the ballot. And RFK reluctantly accepted, okay, fine, I'll be on the ballot. And then they had the voting process. I believe he got 20-something votes out of 800 votes, and he was eliminated. Trump got 6 votes out of 800 votes, and he was eliminated. But for a moment there, he was on the ballot to maybe be picked. But the Libertarians stuck by their principles and said, look, this guy doesn't agree with us enough, so we're going to go with somebody else. On the one hand, look, it makes it much more likely that they'll lose, and they will get their 3% or whatever it is. But they'd rather be principled than, get 30% or 28% and lose with a higher rate going with somebody like RFK. So it was a very interesting and chaotic Libertarian convention. RFK definitely had more support than Trump, but still not enough support to get these people. And then finally, I want to leave you with this. This is not from the convention. It's from a podcast. But man, this one blew up too, and you're going to see why.
Would you condemn Charlottesville melting down the Robert E. Lee statue? They gave it to the African American History Museum, and then those horrifying photos.
I have a visceral reaction against the attacks on those statues. I mean, I grew up, in Virginia. I know that there were heroes in the Confederacy who didn't have slaves, and I just have a visceral reaction against destroying history. I don't like it. I think we should celebrate who we are, and that we should celebrate the good qualities of everybody. If we want to find people who are completely virtuous on every issue throughout history, we would erase all of history. And values change throughout history, and maybe they had other qualities that we want to celebrate. And clearly, Robert E. Lee had extraordinary qualities of leadership, and I don't think that I wouldn't have done that.
So he was pushed on taking down these Confederate statues. Isn't it really bad and wrong? And he's basically like, yeah, it's bad. It's wrong. Look, it's actually a good thing he's saying this because, as I've pointed out to you guys before, the more right-wing coded he is, the more conservative votes he'll get in the election, which means the more votes he takes from Trump and the more he hurts Trump. So I actually like it when he's out there and he's coded as very right-wing with the stuff he says. I think that's good. I think the net effect of that is positive. But having said that, this is also just a preposterous thing. I mean, come on, man. People start doing the most ridiculous mental gymnastics when it comes to our country and our history and our crimes. In the wake of Nazi Germany falling, they destroyed literally all of the remnants of Nazi Germany. Why? Because they knew that if this sticks around, it's more likely to breed a new movement and a growing movement of people who actually support the Nazis and what they did, right? And so they got rid of almost all the relics of Nazi Germany, all the buildings, all the statues, all the this, all the that. And, there's laws. I'm not in favor of this because I'm in favor of free speech, but there are laws against praising Nazi Germany in Germany. Here in the U.S., we took the opposite approach. We had rebels who tried to secede from the country, and because they wanted to have the right to own human beings, And there was a war over it. And then we never really came to terms with that. And you still have Confederate schools and Confederate roads and Confederate monuments. And by the way, a lot of these Confederate monuments, they were put up during the heart of the civil rights movement, specifically as a fuck you to the Martin Luther Kings of the world, specifically as a fuck you to the call for equal rights and the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act. Like, the whole point of it was to be like, stop messing up the way the system works. We're racist and we're proud of it. And again, I'm not, this isn't speculation. I'm not giving my opinion. This is a fact. This is why a lot of these monuments were put up. And so now, to defend them in this day and age, if they were taken down already, like, what are we really discussing here? What are we really debating? Like, you can't make history, not hate argument. You can't make that, because the whole point, if you look at the history, was the hate. That was the whole point of it. Now, look, is this the number one issue on my list? Am I crusading? Let's get rid of all these. No. But especially in instances where the statues are already taken down, it is an extra level of deranged to say, we're going to go put one back up. Or like we covered the other day, there was a school that had changed its name from the Confederate name, and now they just changed it back to the Confederate name. Don't tell me that doesn't send the message it very clearly says. Don't tell me that, because that's bullshit. We all know the message that sends. And the message is, we are defending this, we agree with this, we don't have a problem with that history. In fact, maybe they had a point. So, God. But again, go ahead. Go ahead, Bobby. Go ahead. Because you're coding right wing. The more you code right wing, the more conservative votes you get. The more conservative votes you get, the more that is a knock on Trump. So maybe he's doing some weird stealth, high-minded 4D chess where he's effectively trying to help Biden get reelected. I don't know. It's on the table of possibility, but in reality, I think what's much more likely is that he genuinely thinks he has a chance to win, and over the years, he's genuinely shifted and become more right-wing. And under this pressure of like, isn't it an outrage that they took down the Confederate monuments? He's like, yeah, okay, yeah, kind of. That's an outrage. On the list of things to be outraged about, that is not even close to being on it. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.